This week on the Steel Report, another important follow-up program for you. We honored, of course, the memory and legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. earlier this week on his birthday. And today we are going to update the ongoing local work of the 24/7 Black Leadership Advancement Consortium, designed to create new opportunities to combat the large racial disparities outlined in a 24/7 Wall Street report from November of 2018, which labeled Waterloo at the time as the worst place in America for African Americans. Our program begins right now.
Now from KWWL, this is the Steel Report.
And welcome to this week's edition of the Steel Report, as today we learn more about the ongoing local efforts of the 24/7 Black Leadership Consortium from the leadership team itself. Let's meet our guests right now. Sharina Salas is board president. She is community relations manager for the CUNA Mutual Group. Joy Briscoe is the executive director, and Joy is the talent acquisition and outreach specialist for the Waterloo Community School District. Robert Smith is the vice president. Robert is the well-known executive director of UniQ, the University of Northern Iowa's Center for Urban Education. And we have three new faces to the program this time. Rashonda Young is director of the Cedar Valley Black Business and Entrepreneurship Accelerator program. Danita Gadsden, PhD, is a professional academic advisor, Diversity and Inclusion Office for Professional Distinction in the UNI College of Business Administration. And please welcome Gwen Berry. Gwen is the Chief Diversity Officer at the University of Northern Iowa and a member of President Mark Nook's cabinet at UNI. So welcome to the program for this week. Obviously, we have a very crowded screen for you today, so we're going to move right along with the questions, because last June, there was so much going on here and around the country when we first talked about racial equality and also your local efforts to groom and develop young African American leaders. So Sharina Salas, you're the board president. What positive changes have you seen since our show last June? We discussed these key issues.
Well, Ron, thank you for this format. We've actually done a lot, and it seems like we're moving at a warp speed. We've had created so many different programs. One that we're going to talk about today, which is the Cedar Valley Black Business Entrepreneurship and Accelerator program, which right now is in its first cohort. We have about 12 participants. We've placed 11 participants in our Skill Up program, 9 of those which have secured the jobs, 1 which was not placed, and 1 was not invited to interview. So we are making progress.
Rashonda, tell us a little bit about your Accelerator program and how you fit into this overall effort with 24 Black.
Okay, so for the Black Business Entrepreneurship Accelerator program, it's actually part of 24/7 Black, and they contacted me to be the facilitator director of that program. So our first session was September 1st, and we will go through February 22nd, and that's when our first cohort will end. So part of the Accelerator, we have been going through like financial statements, budgeting, marketing, legal structures, accounting, and so we've done that. And then while we were doing all of that, we also were invited to do the Venture School program through the University of Northern Iowa and the University of Iowa. And so we did that. It's a 7-week program. So basically we just said it's an accelerator within the accelerator. And they all were able to put together a pitch deck for their businesses. They have been doing their pitches for 1 million cups once every month. There's 1 million cups. And so they've been doing that and just really getting a lot of the skills that they need, but also this has allowed them to really start to integrate with audiences that they didn't have access to before.
I think the 3 really key areas that I think it's important for people to understand what we're trying to do is the economic empowerment, the financial literacy, and we've been fortunate to start an investment group of 25 members as we're learning the ideal and concept of investing and becoming financial literacy, empowerment. And so we've had the 25 members over a 3-year period to commit. Several thousands of dollars to start investing here locally, so to learn more about that. And then obviously we've been very fortunate to have Mr. Michael Finley, who's we call a financial guru, right? Gentleman here from the Cedar Valley. We've had a number of financial work sessions with him by Zoom.
So excited to be able to be charged with leading the organization. And if I was to share, one of the things that makes us different than other organizations is because of relationships, people tend to trust us, right? Mm-hmm. People know Robert Smith. He's known for the work he's done in the community and the lives he's changed. Prior to this, people know Gwen and Rashonda. And so I think it's a wonderful group of leaders that have come together, that because people trust us, because people have seen us around in the community, they trust us to make an impact on their lives.
One of the things that 24/7 Black believes is that when you have financial literacy, when you do understand how to use your money, how to make your money work for you, then you are placing yourself in a better position to be able to buy a home so that you do have more money in savings. And you'll start to see changes all the way around when you have financial literacy, and then you begin to live your life by the tenets that we are teaching people on a regular basis through these Saturday financial literacy courses that are free. All you have to do is log in, and we keep hearing back from participants, and this is the best part, that these kinds of courses have changed their lives.
And I think to add to that again would be just generational wealth. So it's
Yes.
you know what we're doing right now, and we're learning. I can say for myself, I'm learning, but I'm hoping that I can pass that information that I'm learning on to my children and my grandchildren, and they can continue to pass it on to their children and their grandchildren. This has been something that as a Black community that we haven't done a very good job of. And I think one of the things that I appreciate about 24/7 Black is that we're recognizing and we're owning up that we can do more and we can do better. And we've started to do that.
Unfortunately, Kingsley Botchway of the Waterloo Community School District was not able to join us here today as he did in the previous program. But at that time he said, quote, "I want all the talent." And do you see that happening now with your efforts as you move forward? Are you seeing progress in that area, developing that young African-American talent and making really the future leaders right here in the Cedar Valley?
Well, I'll answer that. I guess the short answer is yes, but it can't just be on one organization, right? Waterloo Community Schools is a great employer where people can choose to work, but there's other employers. I'm going to shout out my own, CUNA Mutual Group. There's other employers in the Cedar Valley that are really coming to the table saying, hey, we'd like to get diverse talent. How can we do that? And so what we do is form a partnership to say, what are you willing to do? What changes would you like to make in your organization? And then starting to find the talent for them. So we kind of do like some kind of recruiting, but it goes beyond just recruiting, right? We're helping you prepare your resume. We're helping you to interview. We're coaching you along this process so that you can actually land the jobs. There's a lot of unspoken rules in recruiting that people just don't tell you. You usually find it out trial by error, and you usually find that out when you're in your sweet spot of your career yourself. So what if people had that information up front to say, hey, no, recruiters and managers are actually looking at if you have these kinds of techniques to connect actual situations to being able to connect it to the job skills to make sure that you have the skills that you need to get the role, to land the role.
We will continue our discussion in just a moment. And welcome back to this week's edition of the Steel Report. Let's continue our discussion now with 6 members of the 24/7 Black Leadership Advancement Team. So the conversations about race and equality and providing opportunities, are all of you, do you think, role models who can be looked at as someone who can really make a difference for these young people in our community?
Oh, absolutely. And we have to hold ourselves accountable. And that's one of the reasons why I'm excited and I wanted to be part of this group is because um, I just felt like this group understood the big picture and not to get just focus in on a particular area, but really see the big picture. So absolutely, I've always felt like you know, if you don't preach, you need to practice. Practice what you preach. And so the person I always want to hold accountable more than anybody, and that's myself. And so in order to be a role model, you must play the role the correct way. And so this group is that's what it's about. We have real conversations, and they're not always comfortable. They're not always easy conversations to have. We put it on the table and we talk about it so that we can work through things. And you know, it's not about individuals; it's about the community. And like it's, you know, you and I, we've talked over the years, Ron, and I've been very, very fortunate and blessed to live in Waterloo and the Cedar Falls area. And I feel like I have an obligation to give back and give back to, I mean, a special part in my heart is the young black boys and black men. We don't have enough that are able to stand on their 2 feet and do more. And there's a lot of talent there. So as long as I'm able and I'm capable, I will continue to help support this group. But particularly, I'm going to do everything I can in my power to help young black boys and black men so that we can have a better role in this community and be part of making this community that we all can be proud of.
That is one of the best things about this organization. I'm probably going to say that about everything, but one of the best things about this organization is as we came together, just just as a very small group of people, just 6 people talking, and we realized the problem all along has been that we spend so much time talking. Let's stop talking and let's do. We can easily identify the problems. They've been identified for us in the 24/7 report. And each one of us has been blessed along the way at some point to be viewed as a role model for Black youth. I've been a cheer coach, dance coach. I work with the cotillion. All of us have had some opportunity, some way to be in a position to tell students this is what you should be doing. So now, as a group, we've identified here are the holes, the problems. This is where things go wrong and how we can shore it up. So we're speaking as a whole now to those same students, to those same young people. You know, a lot of people will sit around and they'll say, oh, you know, kids today, they just don't listen, or kids today, they're just going the wrong way. And we decided that we weren't going to do that. We were going to say, this is how we help kids today, along with the rest of the Black population.
Business owners here locally, particularly white business owners in our community, do you believe they have the responsibility to offer these local opportunities? And is that happening now? Can you see it in your organization?
We all have the responsibility, yes, they do, to give the opportunities because oftentimes it's more about who they know or who their people are comfortable with. And a lot of times that comes down to when you walk in, do they look at you and can they identify with you? And if they can't, oftentimes you are immediately scratched. You have no opportunity. You have no chance of getting a lot of the jobs that are available because when the person who's hiring looks at you, they can't identify with you because you look nothing like them. So yeah, I think that there is a responsibility to just that kind of thought process, that kind of behavior needs to stop, and just really understand that we have all been living here in this community for probably looking at this group, 30 plus years for everybody. And okay, Joy, not Joy, but we've been here for a long time. And as people, say, well, gosh, we don't know how, to work with this population. I always challenge, well, I don't understand why, because we've been here. And so, yes, there's that responsibility to just open up and not use the excuse because we've been here, we've gone to school together, we go to church together. So yes, the responsibility is there.
When we talk about the relationships that Joy talked about, and we talked about, if we think about what Rashonda just said, when we think about financing for businesses, those decision makers, how are they making those decisions if they don't know the person that's across the desk from them, right? And so it's important that we begin to address, and that's what 24/7 is about, 24/7 Black is about, is addressing some of those disparities in lending that really impact Black-owned businesses or businesses of color.
That is an outstanding point too. That financing, that initial capital is absolutely vital to get any business going. So Joy, let me ask you this. Your group has been working with young people here locally and local businesses. What has the reception been like the last few months? Is everybody on board, so to speak?
So I would definitely say we have been very excited about the reception that we have received. Now, of course, I'm saying that to say we welcome more support. We'll be asking for more support. We'll be reaching out to businesses. But for the large majority of the part, we've been very well received. We received great support. But again, projects such like these need resources, right? And so we don't just want businesses when you meet with Joy or you meet with Sharina or Rashonda to say yes. We want you to think about, what does your board look like? What are your hiring practices? Who's your supplier? Could you use a diverse supplier? Could you use a diverse contractor? Those type of things, when you're inviting Black-owned businesses and businesses of color to the financial ecosystem, that makes a difference. And so we're asking that. We've been really thrilled at the support we've received to date, but we want to continue that, and we want to charge our community to think about these things and to definitely be aware of who's at the table. What does your leadership look like? It's hard to invite to be sure that you have inclusive hiring practices or inclusive management program if you don't have any people that are actually represented at that table. So we need you to look at those things and have conversations. All of us are open to have conversations about what are some things that you could do to help diversify your organization.
And we'll continue our discussion right here on the Steele Report in just a moment. And welcome back as the 24/7 Black Leadership Advancement Consortium team talks about its local efforts to groom young African American leaders right here in the Cedar Valley.
For us, I think our immediate goals going into 2021 is to continue with our economic empowerment series. As Robert had alluded to earlier, it has been literally changing the lives, myself included, because again, I am also a member of this community that did not necessarily receive all of that information growing up. And so this truly serves as an opportunity for myself to lift as we climb, as I'm challenged to think about some of those purchases and do we need them and where should I save and invest money? So definitely continuing and growing our economic empowerment series. We like to grow our skill up. We're looking to partner with businesses so that we can have direct connection into getting very talented, very capable, ready people to work into your organizations, and then also supporting the business accelerator. I mean, we literally got the best of the best when we put together the team that's leading the accelerator with Rashonda and Danita, Danny Laudick, who does great work, UNI Business Community Services, Matthew Gilbert. I mean, we really went and got the best of the best. And so how we can support them, how we can call on businesses and banks to actually provide financial resources to our participants, we're going to be looking to do more of that for 2021.
But this is really an opportunity for organizations to stop just talking about being diverse and inclusive, but to actually put some meat and some stake in the ground and say, hey, this is what we're going to do. So we're going to be holding those organizations accountable for what they actually say that they want to do. So if your financial institutions are saying, hey, we believe in a diverse workforce, we believe in diverse businesses, then we're going to be coming to you saying, then why not? Where's your investment? What does that look like? Where's your plan for us? And asking you to make that public so that others can see by your example of what's possible?
In terms of the Accelerator program, like I said, this first cohort ends February 22nd. We're looking at starting a second one in April. And this time we will be limiting to 8 to 10 participants. And we already have a waiting list of people to do the second cohort. So our goal is just to do, something as good, if not better, than what we've done this first time. And this first time has been really good.
What I think we need to be doing is focusing very heavily on skill up. It's where I think we do some of the best work. That's where we allow for people to come forward to us and we can offer resume assistance. We won't write it for you, but we will certainly review it, help you understand how to write your resume so that it addresses the position. That's where we coach. We do coaching for interviews. We do coaching for once you get into the job place. Where are those unspoken rules or landmines that Sharina talked about? We do coaching for how do you ask for or negotiate for a higher salary, that raise. I'm doing more work. It's time to talk about more money. How do you do that? So we do coaching for that. And that's where I think we need to put a lot of our man and woman power.
I love what Gwen just said about skill up, because I know that there are people that are already employed, but they are just ripe for that movement upwards. And so the more opportunities that they have to be trained, to be groomed, to be supported, to be mentored, to do those kinds of things, then the better for them. But I also, because of my love for entrepreneurship, I have to say, I want to see more capital for businesses, for Black businesses. I want to see more growth in terms of not only those businesses being able to support themselves and their families, but to have jobs so that they're able to hire people. So those are some of the things that I want to see for 2021.
Change is not easy. It's not easy. And we have to stay committed to support each other. And sometimes that commitment is hard. Sometimes that commitment takes criticism. Sometimes that commitment takes challenging each other to stay focused, because many times we lose focus because people want to pull you in different directions. And so my biggest thing is we're going to have to stay committed. We're going to have to deal with some of the rejections. We're going to have to deal with some of the pitfalls, but we got to stay focused and don't take it personally. One thing I learned about being in public office for 10 years, 6 years on the school board and 4 on the county board of supervisors, is that if you're doing work for the public good, criticism is part of winning. And the thing that I would challenge our people to do is that we have to be prepared for constructive criticism and sometimes criticism that's not warranted. You got to stay in the fight. And that's the only way you're going to make progress, is you got to stay in the fight. You can't take your football and run in the house. You got to continue to play ball. So that's my goal, is to be the conscience of reminding us, my people, it won't be easy. Not everybody is going to be supported, but we have to continue to be committed to each other and continue to fight.
If we want to create the kind of community that we desire, everyone has a role and a part. Everyone has a role and a part when it comes to racial healing. Everyone has a role and a part when it comes to these inequities. Everyone. And we need everyone wanting to create the kind of community, beloved community, that they desire to see.
And once again, thanks to the 24/7 Black Leadership team here locally, please check out their webpage at cvskillup.com. And a reminder, all of our recent programs are on the homepage of KWWL.com. Just go to the Watch tab, right on down to the Steel Report, and there you'll find all of our recent programs. Thanks for watching here this week. We'll be back next week for the next edition of the Steel Report.